Just days after the passing of Malcolm Jamal-Warner, Ice Cube has now entered the conversation, showing support for Cat Williams and his claims about what really went down with Malcolm. Here's what Cube...
Actor who really brought, realness to television, playing a great character, playing a great son on The Cosby Show.
And this type of energy comes after we found out about Malcolm's
Cube had to say just a few days ago. And this kind of energy is hitting just as the world reacts to the devastating news of Malcolm's tragic drowning in Costa Rica, officially ruled an accident. But according to Cat and now Ice Cube, this wasn't just some random twist of fate. They believe it was a warning. It wouldn't be the first time a black man in Hollywood who dared to defy the system ended up silenced, sidelined, or 6 feet under. Cat's been ringing the alarm for years, exposing the invisible forces in the industry that push back against anyone who won't bow to humiliation rituals, degrading stereotypes, and circus act roles. Now, he's linking those same dark players to the downfall of Malcolm's career, and maybe even his untimely death. So, was Malcolm targeted for refusing to fold? Was his name erased on purpose? And why are Cube and Cat suddenly speaking in unison? We're digging deep into all of it, so don't scroll away, because what Ice Cube just said has the entire entertainment world on edge. July 20th, 2025. What started off as a laid-back beach day in Costa Rica turned tragic in an instant. Malcolm Jamal Warner, actor, poet, activist, and loving father, was swimming with his 8-year-old daughter when a powerful rip current pulled him under. Nearby surfers jumped into action and were able to rescue his daughter, but Malcolm didn't survive. Even after 20 minutes of CPR on the sand, his life couldn't be saved. The official report lists it as an accidental drowning. No foul play detected, just a heartbreaking accident at a beach known for treacherous undertows and limited lifeguard patrols. And maybe that's all it was. Maybe it really was just one of life's cruel twists. But then again, maybe it wasn't. What's hitting people now isn't just the pain of losing him. It's the silence that surrounded him before he died. The way the industry acted like he vanished. Malcolm wasn't chasing clout or selling out for screen time. He stood for integrity. He turned down clown roles, refused to be a...
With certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers got to wear a dress.
Emasculated, and wouldn't let the system shrink him into a stereotype. He said no, again and again, and paid the price through quiet exile and missed opportunities. It was never about talent. It was always about control. And when you can't be controlled in Hollywood, you become dangerous. Just think about what Dave Chappelle tried to warn us about all those years ago. Now suddenly, the tributes are flooding in, everyone calling Malcolm a legend. But where was all this love when he needed it most? When he was out there putting the work, staying grounded, and fighting for a real, honest representation. Now, all this praise after the fact feels less like respect and more like damage control. And that's exactly what Cat Williams has been screaming for years, that Hollywood only shows you love once you're no longer a threat. Now, with Ice Cube backing him, people are finally leaning in. Maybe Cat wasn't just going off. Maybe he was exposing a blueprint. And maybe Malcolm's so-called accident fits into a much bigger picture. Suddenly, all the things Cat's been yelling from the rooftops, and Cube's rare but powerful cosign, start clicking into place. If you go back and really listen to what Cat's been saying over the years, the warning signs were always there. People used to say Cat was willed in. But now, after Malcolm's death under mysterious circumstances, those words hit way different. This wasn't just comedy. Cat was peeling back Hollywood's mask. Just like Chappelle did in his own way, Cat's been trying to tell us, there are rules, unspoken but strict, for black men in this industry. Refuse to play the game, and you get cut off. Say no to the degrading roles, the cross-dressing bits, the clown antics, and they silence you. Cat said it always starts subtly. They offer you a role, but there are strings attached. Maybe you're asked to wear a dress. Maybe you play the joke. Maybe you're cast as a goofy sidekick. The punchline, not the power. Cat calls it the humiliation ritual, a test to see if you'll sell your pride for the spotlight. Ask yourself, did Malcolm Jamal Warner ever play that game? No. Just like Cat, he stayed solid. And he paid the price for it. Cat got labeled unstable, blacklisted from platforms that once praised him. Malcolm? He didn't get called crazy. He just got ghosted. Slowly, his name disappeared from casting rooms and big projects. Not because he lacked talent, but because he didn't conform. Cat's been exposing a system. A machine built to punish those who won't play along. Say no, and they don't just ignore you. They erase you. They starve your career, distort your image, and then when you're gone, suddenly act like you were always iconic. That's why people are finally seeing the bigger picture. Everything Cat's been warning us about is now happening in real time, and just when it seemed like it couldn't get more calculated, Ice Cube enters the frame. Cube doesn't speak on this stuff often, but when he does, people listen. And this time, it sounds like he's standing beside Cat, calling out the same machine that turned its back on Malcolm. Cube never needed a Hollywood stamp to stay real. He's always moved with purpose. Go back to No Vaseline. That wasn't just a diss track. That was a direct call out of the industry, exposing how labels and managers exploit black artists, rob them of their power, then repackage them as puppets. But I'm a man and ain't nobody helping me. That line wasn't just rap beef. It was a statement on self-worth. And doesn't that echo what Cat's been preaching? That when you push back against the system, it pushes even harder. Now fans are putting the pieces together. Cube didn't have to name-drop Cat or Malcolm. The message was crystal clear. He knows what happens to outspoken black men who won't dance for a check. And when you look at how Malcolm carried himself, it all starts to connect. While Hollywood chased trends and recycled stereotypes, Malcolm was building something real. He didn't need to yell. His life spoke for him. From his Not All Hood podcast to the interviews he gave to the roles he turned down, Malcolm made it clear. He wasn't here to play along. The podcast title alone, Not All Hood, said it all. Co-hosted with journalist Candace Kelly. It pushed back on the media's lazy portrayals of black life. Malcolm wasn't interested in trauma porn, gunplay, or caricatures. He wanted to spotlight the full picture, the thinkers, artists, builders, parents, and teachers. Every episode gave voice to people the system ignores. And it didn't stop there. Malcolm wrote powerful op-eds, gave pointed interviews, and spoke openly about rejecting roles that glorified gangs, drugs, and dysfunction. It didn't matter how flashy the offer. If it fed a stereotype, he passed. He wouldn't support a system that painted black men as violent, broken, or buffoonish. And he made that stance clear. He called out the so-called representation for what it was, the same poison in shinier bottles. That clarity of vision wasn't new. He'd been moving like that since the beginning. Born in 1970, named after icons Malcolm X and Ahmad Jamal, resistance and brilliance were in his blood. When he stepped onto the scene as Theo Huxtable, he didn't just ride the wave, he helped change the narrative. That show gave America a new image of black families, smart, loving, layered, and Malcolm held that torch with pride. But he didn't stop at acting. While others chased the limelight, he stepped behind the lens, directing episodes of The Cosby Show, The Fresh Prince, and even contributing to educational content for Sesame Street and AIDS awareness. Malcolm wasn't just chasing gigs. He was taking ownership. He wasn't just acting in stories. He was determined to tell them. And when Hollywood started pushing the same tired scripts, gangbangers, sidekicks, clowns, Malcolm took a step back. He turned down big checks for small roles that didn't align with his values. Instead, he chose meaningful work, like a youth counselor in Here and Now, or a family man in Read Between the Lines. He played characters who were complex, grounded, human, and outside of TV, he spoke his truth through spoken word, poetry with purpose. It wasn't just art. It was protest. He earned awards for it. But even then, he never craved the spotlight. He craved impact. On Not All Hood, he dismantled the system, episode by episode. He uplifted creators, thinkers, voices drowned out by noise. So no, he wasn't trending every week. He wasn't headlining blockbusters. But not because he lacked the skill, because he chose principle over popularity. He didn't bend, didn't sell out, didn't play nice when things got shady. Every line, every poem, every podcast was Malcolm exposing just how rigged the game is. And now, in the wake of his death, it's all becoming painfully clear. He wasn't just an actor. He was a quiet revolutionary, a cultural watchdog, a man living out everything Cat Williams has been warning about for years. Now take a closer look at The Cosby Show. Malcolm always said he wanted to carry on that legacy, not the controversy, but the symbolism. A black family on screen that was loving, educated, whole. A show that told black kids it was okay to be smart, gentle, and still proudly black. Even when the industry pivoted away from that kind of storytelling, Malcolm stayed the course. He didn't chase viral moments. He moved with discipline, turned down major offers just to keep his soul intact. And that's what makes this loss hit even harder. Because just like Cat, Malcolm refused to bow. Just like Cube, he stayed independent. And while Hollywood never dragged his name through the mud, they did something worse. They acted like he didn't exist. Until now. Now all of a sudden he's a legend. But why only now? Why the love after the silence? Because the minute Malcolm died, Hollywood flipped the script. Now, the same machine that ignored him is blasting out tributes. Old clips, throwback interviews, emotional posts, all flooding your feed. Networks that hadn't mentioned his name in years, now calling him a pioneer, a cultural voice, a giant. But where was all this while he was breathing? Let's be real, that's Hollywood's playbook. When you're alive and standing tall, refuse and play the fool, they blacklist you. The second you pass, they start the PR parade. And Malcolm was no different. Now people are replaying episodes of The Resident, reposting clips from The Cosby Show, and quoting interviews where he spoke about identity, media, and healing. But while he was here, they didn't spotlight him. They didn't uplift the man who chose dignity over the bag. And this is where Cat's words start to sound prophetic. He's been saying this for years. Hollywood doesn't celebrate black men who walk with spine. They just wait until you can't talk back. Then they rewrite your legacy, package it neatly, and sell like they were always on your side. But make no mistake, this isn't about honoring you. It's about controlling the narrative. And it makes you wonder